Newest show to hit Facebook Live, where we talk about trending news, business. Newest show to hit Facebook Live, where we talk about trending news, charity, business, technology, innovation, celebrities, social influencers, charities, and politicians. We'll be bringing on celebrities, influencers, athletes, and politicians, asking them, how are you leaving normal behind? Generation Z, and we want this channel to be the epicenter of content that spans Generation Z, Millennials, Gen X, and Baby Boomers, where they can come together and we can all make a difference.
And really engage as we discuss trending topics of today.
Call in
and really engage as we discuss trending topics of today that will have an effect on tomorrow.
Hey guys, what's going on? And it's Rob Fajardo for our second episode live of LnbTv this Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. Last week we got a lot of great feedback and it was awesome. We had people call in live. We had people give feedback on their comments, insights, concerns. You know, just for a little recap, we talked about Donald Trump's presidency, his inauguration. We talked about the Snapchat IPO versus Facebook stories. You know, that was super hot last week. We also talked about the media's responsibility to share authentic and quality stories despite the market's demand for sensationalism. And we really went through what is the purpose of LnbTv? Why are we here? And guys, the reason is we feel an obligation to share trending news, business, insight, technology, innovation, social impact, to share knowledge and information that can shift conversation. We want you guys to take what we talk about here and use this tomorrow at lunch. Use this with your family and friends. We want to have this platform be an epicenter where Gen Z, Millennials, Baby Boomers, Gen X can come together and talk about topics that make an impact. And it's only gonna happen from the community, guys. So before we really hop into this, I wanna see who's here. Who's here? Give me ones, comment twos below. I wanna see who's in this chat. I have my Facebook Live here in the computer. Also loaded up on some content. Guys, make sure you stay engaged throughout. There'll be different call-in opportunities. And we have some cool things that we're gonna talk about today. But before we hop in, I wanna know that you guys are excited. Let me see some ones in the chats. Let's see who's hopping in here. And where are you guys from? You know, this is something that, you know, I'm really excited about, is to see LnbTV grow, to see where people are tuning in from, you know, and it's gonna be really great. I'm really excited. Brielle, what's going on? Eric, what's going on? Who else do we got in here? Rob, what's going on? Nidal, what's going on, guys? Yeah, guys, as you keep coming on, Philip, what's up? Anna, Ishmael. Guys, this is great. So we're going to let some people hop in here now. Give it about another minute or so. Mike, what's going on, bro? Appreciate you guys. Guys, something that helps this show go on really well is if you guys are commenting live within the Facebook Live. So make sure you're at the Leave Normal Behind page. If you're tuning in, it helps us so much if you share this. You know, as we're moving, as we're growing, you know, it really is awesome if you share this to your timeline so that your friends can maybe tune into LnbTV. Maybe they'll get the information, the spark, the motivation, the inspiration to become the best version of themselves, create things that matter, leave normal behind, do something that they wouldn't necessarily do, and just really step out of their comfort zone, guys. That's really what this is all about. And it's bringing content to a place where purpose-driven people can engage, discuss, converse, collaborate, you know, and really get to the crux of some core issues that are affecting you and me. You know, that's a big reason is as a millennial myself, I know that there's millions of people who are underinformed with the environment around them. They're not privy to this insider information that they can actually use in their life to leverage for more success, more happiness, more networks, whatever it is you're looking for. Knowledge is the conduit to get there. And we want to have control of what we show to you guys. So today, we have some cool things that we're going to be talking about here. One is we're going to be going over Trump's new 2018 budget proposal that's caused massive waves, you know, over this last week, and it's really exciting, and I want to get into it. And just so you guys know, on LnbTV, we will give our LnbTV perspective. What does leave normal behind think about this? But we're not particularly any party. I wouldn't consider myself a Republican. I wouldn't consider myself a Democrat. I wouldn't necessarily consider myself a liberal. I wouldn't consider myself a conservative. I would consider myself a smorgasbord of kind of everything, and what makes sense that drives people to become the best version of themselves, create things that matter, facilitate their own inner genius, their own inner artist, policies, laws, politicians that further promote that mission and that initiative is what I stand for and what I believe in. You know, and Donald Trump, because he's president, will be a topic of conversation throughout LnbTv, but we're not particularly Republican, we're not particularly Democrat. We agree with some things that he does, we disagree with other things that he does. But what I'm excited to right now is actually go over, right guys, this is a budget proposal. It's not done yet. This is technically, you know, and most of the time it gets negotiated down, Congress will send it back. But if you look on your screens now, these are the 19 departments that will be slashed funding from this new budget proposal. And some of these companies, some of these agencies, these departments are so important, you know, to the growth holistically of the United States. And something that's really been driving a lot of engagement here is increasing the discretionary spend of the United States, particularly for defense, for military, for arms, for nuclear weapons, by about $54 billion, and slashing billions and billions of dollars from the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, from the Department of Agriculture, from the Education Department, completely slashing the arts and cultural agencies of the United States. Guys, are you hearing that? Completely slashing all $1 billion allotted to further people stepping into their inner artists, to further people becoming creators. Guys, if we become a consuming economy and we limit the creators, guys, that is a bad downturn. And there's one thing to be said, that potentially a lot of this money in these more liberal government programs maybe not spent wisely, and this budget might be a measure to kind of bring back and then observe, renegotiate, to look through again, how are these departments spending their dollars, and is this a chance to reform this spend, to run it more like a business, so that down the line, maybe we can bring back some of this government funding that is proposed to be slashed from some of these really important departments. And that's kind of what I want to talk about with you guys in our first call-in, is what do you guys think is the legitimacy, the authenticity, what is the right? Is it right? Is it wrong to increase by billions of dollars our military, our warfare, and slash billions of dollars from other departments that are helping people become the best version of themselves and create things that matter, that will hopefully limit war? So if you guys look on the screen right here, this is a very important slide, a picture rather, and I want you guys to take your time and really look at it. This, guys, gives you the percentages of government funding that is either being slashed or decreased. And if you can, please see, I want you guys to look particularly at the Environmental Protection Agency, the Agriculture Department. The State Department, for those of you guys don't know, handles our foreign affairs, and that's kind of our relationships that we have with internationally with different companies. If you guys take a look at the Education Department, that's receiving a huge slash. NASA is receiving a slash of only 1%, which comes down to like a couple $100 million. However, it's what's slashed from them proposed is funding that gives these researchers the ability to research the Earth itself. So NASA obviously is a space program, so they're cutting millions of dollars, preventing NASA from actually learning more about Earth to try to propel them to learn more about space. I think there's a correlation there. Obviously, you do need to be learning about space. I think it's very foolish to turn off research about the world that we live in. That's very arrogant and egotistical to think that we know everything there is to know, and more research in these areas wouldn't prove beneficial. But I want to know what you guys think about that. So I'm going to invite you guys to call in. You can see it now, 973-475-5555. 5056. And if you guys are ready to call in, guys, last week the call-ins were super fun. We had people call in from all over. They were able to share their insights, share their opinions. We were able to get a nice back and forth, cohesive conversation going, talking about topics that really matter. And the first one here with Donald Trump in particular is, what does this budget proposal mean for humanity in terms of our political agenda, either moving or pushing more warfare? Something that I don't particularly understand is Donald Trump's worry or agenda saying that Russia, is producing more nuclear weapons than we have, and wanting to very much compete with them in this nuclear warfare by adding billions more dollars into a nuclear power plant and to our nuclear weapons, so that it can be the tippy top. And to me, that doesn't make much sense, because we are already in the age where these nuclear weapons can devastate the entire planet, weapons that have never been seen before on this earth. And what is the marginal difference when you already have weapons of mass destruction, weapons that can blow the earth multiple times over? What is the marginal benefit to spend billions of dollars to just become the tippy top? The ones with the best nuclear weapons that hopefully we never use. So obviously it's a scare tactic, because the truth is, the second that we start engaging in nuclear warfare, tens of millions of people, innocent civilians, will die. That type of warfare, that type of weaponry is too uncontrollable. If you guys, obviously we know what happened in Japan when we dropped that atomic bomb. It was one of the things that the world just kind of agreed, like, hey, that's kind of off limits. That's an unfair advantage to be playing with weapons of that type of destruction. And we need to steer away from those things. So it was very alarming to me and somewhat surprising that we're spending billions more dollars towards our military and towards our weaponry, which in my opinion would only make our allies, our opponents, the other people in the world, in a defensive position. Hey, the United States is increasing their army, they're increasing the Marine Corps, they're buying more fighter jets, and they're increasing their nuclear stockpile. That only begets people being defensive, and that only leads us into confrontation. It makes much more sense, in my opinion, to spend those billions of dollars into these programs that will help people become the best version of themselves, create things that matter, leave normal behind, and further their agenda as human beings. Because by helping ourselves internally and then by helping others, that is how you limit warfare. When you bring people out of poverty, when you put people together around a mission, around a community, when you let people engage in the arts, when you move towards sustainable and renewable energy, when you're more aware of the environment and what we're doing to it and not so focused about business, then you see that putting billions of dollars into weaponry, arms, and warfare only amplifies that direction in which we're already moving. And at what point does the world leaders understand that that is not the move? How many historical figures, Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Mother Teresa, how many historical figures have to live and die telling us that love is the answer? And how many world leaders are going to let their ego to be the best blind them from the realization that we are global citizens? We are all living here. Yes, we come and we will die, but what is our responsibility for what we pass on to our generations, right? And if you want to think about, I don't know what I want to pass on because it's other people's families, it's your family too. Your grandkids and their great-grandkids and their great-great-grandkids. What type of condition are we going to give the earth over to them as we're moving rapidly into technological advancement, as we're moving so egregiously with CO2 emissions and really messing up our climate? And something, in these budget cuts, the EPA took a 31% budget cut. Donald Trump and this administration does not think it is important for us to have an understanding on the environment in which we live, which is moronic. It is moronic for any human being in this day and age with so much information out there to not realize that the environment that we live in plays a direct role in the fulfillment of our life. And if we are taking away our resources, if we're messing with the ozone layer, if we're not adapting to climate change, then we're going to step ourselves into a problem that is going to be very hard for us to get out. And at that time is when people will innovate to find the answer. So we're a little bit into it right now. Guys, please, 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 if the voice is way off, just let me know in the comments. But guys, keep commenting below. I want to see who's in here. We got Nicholas, nice to see you. Macabuzio, nice to see you. Michael Ambrosino, nice to see you, bro. Bobby, Christina. Guys, where are you tuning in for? Also, keep calling in. I just got word that we're getting a bunch of calls, so please don't stop if your call's not going through. We're just having a little technical difficulties here in the back, but should be resolved very soon. And what it does, we're going to hop into these calls, guys. So if you have a question or some insights or some opinions about Donald Trump, about these budget cuts, and about the proposed budget increases, that's really what I want to hear about. And what do you guys think about cuts to education? Is education important? You know, guys, as an entrepreneur myself, and really going through this in my schooling and in my college, I dove deeply into education studies and also the importance of the educating process overall, right? Most people think education just means, becoming a teacher, or they think about elementary school, but that's not really the case. If you were to look in any industry, any profession, there is an educating process going on. People are educating one another. And if that education process is not observed, then how can we find holes, places where we can improve to then make that education process better, to then get better results? So guys, real quick, we're gonna head to a commercial to show some of our commercial sponsors, right as we get our call-in technical difficulty squared away. When we get back here, we're gonna move into the live calls. I'm getting a call right now, but guys, we'll see you right after this commercial break.
Spreading knowledge and making those around you.
How's it feel internally? How do you know when you love normal behind internally?
You feel liberated.
Yeah, you do.
You feel liberated.
Today I want to talk about something that Glenn Clark says in a book called The Man Who Tapped the Secrets of the Universe. What he says is that each man and woman has a consummate inner genius within them. However, it's either your awareness or unawareness of this infinite power inside of you that determines your output. The mediocre man's life ends at 40, where the genius's life starts at 40, because only a genius can continue to grow as they get older. Because if you're not growing, then you're dying. And what I wanted to touch on are 3 key things that you need to move you forward in life right now. Number 1 is you need the knowledge of this inner genius. 2, the courage to dare. And 3, the faith to do. If you guys can combine those 3 things, then you can move forward with reckless abandonment towards the things that make you happy, satisfied, and fulfilled, without the worry of what other people are going to say about you, or without anything holding you back, guys. So remember those 3 things. The knowledge of your inner genius. 2nd, the courage to dare. And 3rd, the faith to do. See you guys in the next video.
It's not fair or practical to be extorted by billion-dollar sunglass companies. We know what it feels like to lose sunglasses. We are people too. It happens. The real problem is that the billion-dollar sunglass companies know you're going to lose your sunglasses. In fact, they're banking on it. We're going to do things differently at Ellison and turn the industry upside down with your help. And because we know that people lose sunglasses so often, we're going to replace them for you at exclusive membership pricing. We want to change this world and look good while doing it. I started this company with a goal to build it into a community of people who value the importance of getting lost in order to get found.
app that's turning these connections into ways of helping those in need. Chatter is an app that lets you video chat one-on-one with some of the biggest names in music, TV, film, and sports, all while giving back to charity at the same time. Chatter already has an impressive list of partners that include Drake, Pharrell, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Shaq. One person is chosen at random to speak with the hero of their choice. Chatter is currently available for download on iOS with an Android version on the way.
These weeks moving forward for our businesses right now.
Let's go, 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 let's go.
When you're overwhelmed, you will seek distraction, not knowing it.
I don't know if I've ever been checked publicly. You were to die right now. Why is it important that this must happen?
Hey guys, we're back. Thank you for taking that time. For some of our commercial sponsors, guys, if you have a business or you're doing something cool, we want to promote you on LnbTv. If you have something that's purpose-driven, you want to help others, you want to make an impact, and you're doing something that matters, well then we want you to be part of this LnB family. And when people are tuning in to Leave Normal Behind TV, we want to showcase you and we want to show what you're up to. So if you have a 30-second, 1-minute long video that you think deserves to get some airtime, send it over our way. Guys, everything's been fixed. Technical difficulties are handled. And that's one of the things about being an entrepreneur, guys. You have to adapt on the moment, in the moment, guys. And that's something Charles Darwin says, right? It's not the strongest that survive. It's not the most fit. It's not the fastest. It's not the smartest. It's the ones that can adapt to change. So take that, run with it. Guys, ready, fire, aim. We're getting going. I'm looking forward to some people calling in live, 973-475-5056. I want to get some live insights, opinions on what is good with these budget cuts. Do you guys think we should be putting billions of dollars into our military? Maybe you do. Maybe you're someone that thinks, really machoing up against the rest of the world is important. Or maybe you're someone like me that I think that our billions of dollars could be better spent helping people become the best version of themselves and create things that matter. So guys, we got a call coming in now.
Rob, what's going on, buddy? It's Matt Crane.
Hey Matt, what's going on, bro? How are you?
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, dude. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate you having you on LnbTV.
Hey, absolutely. I just want to say I think what you're doing is amazing, and tonight's show is a topic that I think a lot of people have been scared to tackle. And the way that you're doing it, and the way that you're kind of bringing it all home from all sides is very impressive. So I wanted to say, I wanted to kind of predicate my response to the show tonight with that. So congratulations on everything you're doing.
Thanks, bro.
I think two things are very powerful right now. I think number one is with the disruption, in technology and in the economy that we're in right now. Everybody wants to be that disruptive thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, what's happened is that we've had a disruptive vote. Okay.
For sure.
And unfortunately, we're in a world where now everything is available to be seen at the click of a button. And so we're talking. What we have to take into consideration is that right now, it's not a nuclear missile that's the greatest threat. It's the nuclear bomb that we're launching into the race wars and into the economic division and into the job war. And I think what we have to understand, and what you're doing and what Founders is doing and what so many other amazing entrepreneurs are doing, is that they're taking their opinions and they're becoming educated. And that is the launch codes that we have to hold on to. Is that education. Get educated. Get around people, like you said, that are truly trying to move things into a much more informed society, informed people. And I want to say this, and I want to be very respectful of everyone, is that when it's all said and done, we came into this world with no thoughts, not understanding what we saw, and knowing that at some form we had to learn how to walk and take those first steps. So at the end of the day, we should never judge anyone for how they walk, how they talk, and how they look to formulate their life.
I like that.
But what we have to be cognizant of, is that every move we don't make is an opportunity for the wrong move to be made. So we have to be leaders, and we have to stand up, and that's part of leaving normal behind. I want to hang up, man, but I just wanted to make sure you knew that I was here supporting you.
Thanks,
and
Matt.
very proud of what you're doing.
I appreciate it, bro. I got one question before you go. Getting people informed, I think, is super important. And I think that crux of that question or that statement of what you're saying is it kind of is that double-edged sword. You know, for every move that you don't take, do you allow another move to be made? You know, and in this case, obviously, the direct opposition would say, hey, that's why we're putting billions of dollars into our military, because what happens, you know, if we face some major attack here? Do you think, as the United States, that we're really in that threat? Do you think that that's just kind of something to say as the way that war is? You know, war in its fundamental, you know, components is an economic machine. Right, it just completely catalyzes the economy, as shown in every war. You know, and the political agenda motivated by economic politics, you know, obviously is something that really affects people. You know, so what do you think about that?
Well, this is an interesting topic for me, for this is something that I studied quite frequently in college, and I always believe that war is simply the world power shuffling the deck. Okay, because when it's all said and done, we all owe each other money. We're all buying each other's stuff. We're all shipping each other's people to the countries, whether it's to travel or whether it's to move or whether it's to find better economical stability. And here's what I would tell people when it comes to America's and any world power showing their power or showing their might or trying to be tough. When John Fitzgerald Kennedy first took office, he was facing, at the time, Russia, which was considered, you know, one of the scariest and most unhinged military power in the world. And there was a face-off in the middle of the sea. And he had to make a hard decision to say, you cross the parallel, we're going to blow those ships out of the water. And everybody hit the chaos button because of nuclear war. And let's be honest here. Was a war decision made or was an economical decision made? So here's what I would say to everyone. Understand the economical effect, whether it's adversely or inadversely, on anything when you hear people talk about war, because when it's all said and done, follow the money. Right. And so I firmly believe, Rob, that what we're doing now is a simple case of posturing. We have a current political environment right now that is very chaotic, confusing, and no one understands what's happening. And what happens when you do that, they make moves out of desperation to posture to show power. And I think that's what's happening right now. I firmly believe this, that if war was meant and war was going to happen, no matter what we do, we could stop it.
I agree with that.
But what I will say, Rob, to double-edged sword this, if you have an opinion and you feel firmly and you feel strong about it, part of being normal is not saying anything.
Right.
That's that move when I said don't make. Be a Rob.
Can't be silent.
Stand up for what you think and make a statement, and that's how you help shift. Yeah. That's how you help make positive moves.
Matt, thank you for that insight, man. I know a lot of people got a lot of value from that, and that was a really articulate answer, man. Thanks for sharing.
Okay, buddy. Have a good night.
You too. Take it easy, Matt. Guys, I think Matt made a really good opinion there. Some really strong insight. And the whole idea of posturing, right? You need to be aware now, you know, as Donald Trump comes into office. And for those of you that don't know that the United States is going to be run like a business, then you got to realize the United States is going to be run like a business, right? They're making budget cuts to these departments because they're not helping the bottom line. Or they think that all the money used in these departments isn't going to the right spaces. So we got another call coming in. Hello? Yeah, we got another call coming in. One moment. Yeah, I can hear you guys. I think the call dropped, guys. So if you just called, calling again. Sometimes when 2 or 3 people are calling at the same time, they negate. It's through Google Voice. But again, guys, I really want to go into that idea. You need to start thinking like a politician. You need to start thinking like a businessman, because then you're going to be able to put yourself in the driver's seat and not be so reactive. You know, that's some things I don't like, is when people saw these budget cuts, or really just in this presidential campaign overall, people are getting too sensitive to topics and not being logical and saying, how can I operate within this? And trying to see it from all perspectives, right? While I think that these billions of dollars should not be cut from these important department programs, it makes me wonder, if I was on the inside and if this was my business, if the United States as a country was the business and I'm Donald Trump, then I'm gonna ask myself, are the dollars that we're spending here, the hundreds of millions, the billions, are the people in these departments even using this money efficiently? And because it's government funding, being in entrepreneurship myself, helping startups grow, raising capital from investors, venture capitalists, you need to say, hey, who is behind the money and what is their agenda, and also who's receiving it. When you're receiving government funding and it's not coming from an investor, you don't have to pay it back as a loan. A lot of these departments overspend, right? A lot of these people are saying, hey, should I take the $20,000 offer or the $50,000 offer? Let's take both because it's not our money, so we can try both out. That's a lot of what's happening, and that's the truth. That is the truth. A lot of misspending is going on in these departments, in the Department of Agriculture, in the EPA, in the Department of Education, and in the State Department. But again, what I want to talk about is holistically, what does that say to the rest of the world on where our agenda is and where we hold our incentives? Is it in warfare? Is it really being the strongest country in the world, which I think we are? And it's always going to be some of the giants, China, Russia, us. That's going to be there forever as people grow. If you look at, civilizations over time that have come and gone, great civilizations have fallen, and it's because they have not realized or learned how to come together. So guys, we're going to let you keep calling in about this topic. I do want to move in to the next segment of LnbTv. And if you guys do want to keep calling in on this topic, we will take in live call-in answers about the budget cuts and the budget proposals. And we also want to invite this new area. And it's a very bold statement, and I'm making it on purpose because as an entrepreneur, I know what it takes to really go after your dream and create something. And one of them in this topic is why most home-based business owners will never, ever, ever become real thoroughbred entrepreneurs, because they get pigeonholed in their industry and they do not do the things that are necessary to leverage themselves out of their home-based business and then really make an impact. So we got another call here. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Rob? How are you?
Hey, who do we got on the phone?
This is Mike Ambrosino.
Hey, Mike, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing great. Just want to say I'm a fan of what you've been spitting here, and it's actually pretty interesting considering I'm part of the group that I guess Tony Robbins and James Altucher take a similar stance, where it's more important about what you do and what you directly influence than getting caught up. I really don't follow politics that closely.
Me neither.
I pay attention to more what I can influence my own life ultimately, which I know some people might take the stance of, well, if everybody took that approach, then nothing would ever change, which I understand too, but I just find it more important to negotiate what goes on in my day-to-day rather than focusing on many things that I don't directly influence.
Right. I appreciate that, dude. And I think I had a similar understanding, and the crux of LnbTV is to just get this information out there, because as somebody, I know you're doing some cool moves, just get you a little bit more informed about it to maybe develop an opinion, use that entrepreneurial gift down the line. You have any insights or opinions on anything that we've been saying so far?
Yeah, I think for somebody who strays away as far as possible, it's great that you're giving an overview for really somebody like myself who doesn't pay it much mind to get the opportunity to at least get a brief kind of overlap of what's going on. In terms of every single logistical thing, I don't have the largest opinion on much of it, just because, like I said, at the end of the day, I feel like I don't have much influence over it, and I choose not to devote much of my energy to things that I don't influence. But I thought what you're saying, it all made sense. And, the overall factor of Trump running this, like, a business, like, people should definitely recognize, because if they don't adapt, then they're just going to be part of the statistics themselves.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. Mike, I appreciate you calling in, showing some love on LnbTV, and I hope to hear you call in soon. And thanks for saying, the content that we share is for the person that's not super diving deep into these subjects, but can get enough of a base to have an articulate academic research and objective opinion and conversation about things that matter and things that are going on. So thanks, man, for calling in and sharing that.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for educating the people like myself.
No problem, bro. Thank you, Mike.
All right, have a great night.
You too. So guys, that is something that's very important, and I'll talk from personal experience. I'm 23 years old. I didn't even vote, in elections probably until this year. This year I went in. Up until that, I kind of had a similar feeling as Mike. What is my part in this whole big thing, which is politics? What is my part in this whole big thing, which is government? Does my opinion really care? And I invite Mike, if he wants, and everyone else too, I want you to be very introspective on yourself here and say, what is your responsibility to share your opinion because you matter. So, hey, who do we got on the phone?
Hey, what's up, Rob? It's Eric.
Hey, Eric, what's going up? LnbTV, how you doing, Eric? How you liking the show so far? I think you're breaking up a little bit.
Might be hitting the dead spot, but if you can hear me, I think it's amazing. I'm really loving it. I've been watching it on the car ride home. Did you catch all that?
Yeah, I gotcha. Hearing you good.
So dope. But yeah, I think you're making a lot of great points. And just to quickly touch on some things, I think people can't, feel a type of way of what Donald Trump is doing, He won the presidency, so, he's going to make some decisions that not everyone agrees with, but I think what he's doing is, I think he's not playing the art of life. I think he can be doing a lot of different things as like a human to be able to connect with people and sympathize a little bit more. And I think just with that little bit, I think a lot of people would have different views, but he's been doing some not so president things, and I think that's what Americans live up to. We want to be able to follow a president. We don't want to just follow somebody who, I understand the whole business side, but there is an aspect of you still are representing us as a country in a whole, and you have to respect that to a certain extent. And I think he probably just crossed the line one too many times for one too many millions of people.
I think that's good insight. What do you think particularly about the idea of spending billions of dollars more towards warfare and military and, cutting the budgets of some more artistic, creative, liberal departments, that kind of have an effect on the world in a non-business sense? But depending on how you look at it, you can say maybe they do affect, the bottom line of the entire world, like climate change, for example.
Yeah, definitely. I think with him taking away money from those things, it's going to show the morale of humans, because I think that's what gives us like that human connection, and I think that's what kind of uplifts people, when they're waking up to jobs or just waking up to people that they're going to be around. People aren't going to really want to wake up to each other if like money's being cut, no one's really, in a good environment. And as for him, putting it into, military, obviously, I don't really have an opinion on it because it's a little bit difficult. Obviously, my whole thing is just conspiracy over and over. I'm just like, who the hell are we trying to blow up? Like, I thought we're way past those times. I think it's like, hey, let's talk it out.
Right.
And, I think we're just way past the whole, let me go blow up your country. It's kind of getting old,
Yeah, just over human history.
So,
I do think people are tired of blowing each other up, of killing each other. I do see a shift in consciousness happening where I think people are coming to their right mind and saying, hey, life is a lot easier if we're not running at each other with bombs and AK-47. So I definitely agree with you there.
Yeah, so that's just my 2 cents, man. I really love the show. I can't wait to be on soon. Thank you, everyone who's been hopping on and is supporting LnB. It's really been great. It's been a good ride. And, we have some more things in store, but finally got through. Thanks, bro, and keep killing it.
Thanks, Eric. I appreciate you calling in.
All right.
Sounds good, guys. I think Eric made some good points there. You know, I do see over human history, right, we have to realize consciously, as humans, we've really moved towards a direction of love, guys. If you don't, you know, and obviously there's still some places in the world that engage in this type of, you know, barbaric behavior, but we've really moved from human history of like cutting each other's heads off, public executions, you know, just burning people alive, torture. You know, you want to look into medieval times, and I think if you look over, you know, the hundreds of years that the humans have, that we've been developing, you do see a shift towards love and getting on the same page. So we got another call in here.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Rob, it's Alex Young in Manhattan. How are you?
Hey, Alex Young. I appreciate you hopping on, man. It's awesome to hear from you. How you doing?
I'm doing good. So I'm glad that you're talking about this subject because I have an idea for Donald Trump to leave normal behind.
Tell me.
And you might think it's crazy, and you might think it's cool. I mean, some people have thought it's a cool idea, but you know, I have a lot of different names for Donald Trump. Like I'll call him the 45, and like one of the other names that I have for him is the casino president, because he's from that world, casinos and whatnot, gambling. And so I was thinking, why not expand the lotto system? Because the lotto is used to fund education. So why not expand it for healthcare? Make the chances easier to win. You know, I'm not saying to take away the money from education. I'm saying to expand the system, make the odds better for winning, and use it towards healthcare.
From the taxes that you're getting off
that's not
winning?
going to solve all the problems.
That's a very innovative way.
Help.
Yeah, that's a very innovative way, and I appreciate you thinking that way, Alex, too, of, you know, what are some alternative ways to kind of redirect funds and money from some other industries and kind of use them to augment, you know, or support some of these other budget cuts that are happening. I think that's pretty innovative.
Well, let me bring up your state of New Jersey for an example. Only 2% of lotto revenue is used towards education. Where does that other 98% go? Don't tell me it's for the administration, because that's really inefficient.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd probably say it goes into some. I'm sure they'd probably say it goes into some governmental funding or some government policies, and again, guys, too, you know, that is a lot of what Leave Normal Behind stands for, is that authenticity, you know. So I appreciate you asking that question, Alex, and quite frankly, I don't have the answer to it, but thinking in that way is where we're going to, you know, get people on the same page. Is it's like, hey, here's your political agenda. You know, you want to cut budgets here, but what are some ways that, you know, we can do that without, you know, pissing people off, or also just doing things in a better way? And I think just overall, you know, that's the only way I can really make any, you know, legitimacy to these budget cuts, is the idea that these guys know that Congress is going to send this back and say, you know, we're not having this. They're going to negotiate a little bit. There's going to be a little back and forth. You know, the budgets won't get cut that much. You know, but it's proposals like what you just said, where I think are very good transitionary tools that people aren't really thinking. You know, and I think people are thinking in a more divisive manner in terms of thinking, you know, what are some innovative ways to bring people together, man? I think that's a really good one. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, and one last thing about that.
Please.
The reason why wealthy people are going to be okay with that idea is because, guess what? Wealthy people don't play the lotto. So it's fair all across the board. It's fair.
I think that'd be something to
everyone's gonna be
continue a
happy.
conversation about.
Yeah.
I think that's something to continue the conversation about, and I'm curious to see if that gets legs. And I know you're a pretty influential guy, Alex. I wouldn't be surprised if you could write that to somebody and actually get that moving politically.
Well, we'll see.
I appreciate you calling in, Alex. Thank you so much.
Definitely.
Thank you.
All the best.
Bye. So guys, we've had some amazing people call in. I think we've shared a lot of good insights about Donald Trump it's a double-edged sword. Do you want to really put a lot of these billions of dollars into our military, into our weaponry, into our nuclear arms, or do you want to put it into these other more liberal departments that are going to help people creatively, like the arts department? It's going to help our food, sustainable, renewable energy, the education department, how we're educating ourselves to become better, more innovative, because in my opinion, you do want to have business, but education is the platform of which innovation is launched. And if you don't realize that, then you're missing something, because in each industry, there's an education process that's occurring. And if we're not observing that educating process, then how could we 10x it? How can you make it more exponential if you don't even know what you're looking for? And true innovation in all of these businesses, in all entrepreneurship, innovation comes from the multidisciplinary understanding of a couple different verticals, where then you can take your overall understanding, mix it together, and form a new idea. That's education, and that's innovation. So guys, we need to be thinking about these things. They're not just cutting the bottom line. We need to be thinking, is the funding that we're moving from the government, is it actually helping people become the best version of themselves and create things that matter? So we spent a lot of time on Donald Trump. I do want to move on to this topic because it's something that a lot of people online, especially ones that are watching LnbTv, they need to hear. And this is why most home-based business owners will never become real entrepreneurs. And it's something that kind of makes me sick to my stomach a little bit, and I'm particularly talking about, the direct sales, the e-commerce, MLM, network marketing, business in particular, a lot of where people learn true fundamental values of entrepreneurship. It really puts people onto personal growth and personal development, where they start reading new materials, they start listening to different audios. However, it is not entrepreneurship in my opinion, and I want to tell you why. So just really quickly, the definition of an entrepreneur on Google is a person who organizes and operates a business or businesses taking on greater than normal financial risk in order to do so. So I'm particularly talking about home-based businesses, network marketing, MLMs, and direct sales. The whole point of getting into these businesses is that you actually don't really take a more than financial risk. One, you're either just buying a product or a service on a monthly basis or an annual subscription, and then you either get paid by either selling more of that product or recruiting people to sell more of that product. And network marketing, for those of you who know, is one of the highest paid industries in the world. It's over $180 billion worldwide. Just for some comparison, the NFL is around like $80 billion or something. The reason why a lot, and this is what I want to stop this, you see especially millennials claiming entrepreneurship, and that's not true. A lot of these people get pigeonholed in their network marketing company, in their direct sales company, in their home-based business, because they don't learn how to leverage the value that they can bring as an individual next to, beside, juxtaposed to the opportunity that they're pushing. Too many of these people become consumed in the company that they're a part of and let the company lead and have themselves just very closely following behind. And that is not entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is creating something of your own and leading, having that be the forefront where all of your other businesses are coming behind. And guys, I help people with branding, I help consult and accelerate businesses, and I hear this all the time. People are saying, Rob, how do I brand this? How do I brand this company? I have this book, how do I brand this? And they don't realize the best thing that you can brand is yourself. It is your brain, it is your heart, it is your skills, your talents, your passion, and your purpose. And the reason being is that once people buy into you, they will buy into everything that you do. So you don't lead with the company that you're in, because then they're buying into the company and you're just a mere variable of that company. If you want to compare yourself to all the other reps in these home-based businesses, what is the only difference? I'll name a couple similarities. You have the same company, the same compensation plan, the same opportunity, the same customer base, and the same resources and materials to succeed. The only variable in the math equation, A plus B plus C plus D equals X, which is your result, the only variable that is different is you. And the new age network marketer, the new age home-based business owner is someone that can bring authentic and real value from themselves that augments or amplifies their opportunity that they're promoting, because only a few select people, Only a few select people do these home-based businesses right, where they build a residual income that they can then leverage into other entrepreneurship activities or opportunities, where they take this residual income and then use that to make more impact, to make more purpose. I was listening to The Science of Getting Rich the other day, and they made a very important and a very fundamental claim on life. And it said that life, in the fact that it's living, wishes to become more of itself. By planting a seed in the ground, that seed does not deteriorate. In its living, it becomes more of itself and grows into a tree. In the same way with us humans. Once we are born and once we are alive, each day we go on the process of living more and becoming more. And life and consciousness and our spirit has an inherent desire to be more, to do more. And that is where I find true thoroughbred entrepreneurs. People who are just wanting to be more, wanting to create more, wanting to do more because that's all that they know. And not everyone needs to be an entrepreneur. But that's a huge reason of why most people are pigeonholed, because they're not leveraging these opportunities. So we have a call coming in. Hey, what's going on? You're on LnbTv.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going? Who do we got on the call so far?
Hey, what's up? So this is John.
Hey, John, what's going on?
Hey, man, it's fantastic. But I just wanted to call in, put in my 2 cents when you're talking about MLM and creating entrepreneurs. I think that's an incredible trap. For people who want to be thoroughbred entrepreneurs. And the reason is because you're not learning how to create something new. What you're learning how to do is follow what is, for the most part, an already set system. And that system that most of these MLMs offer makes it kind of advertised as own your own business, when you're really not. What you're doing is you're coming in, and for the most part, you're taking through what they want you to do, the way they want you to sell. And yes, you can tweak it to your own way, but you're never learning to create something truly original. And a lot of times you're not actually learning a skill. You're learning how to fit in to that MLM's culture or that MLM success pattern. You're not learning any skills which can then later be translated into something else.
I think that's a very great point, John. And I think it's because there's a false vision. You know, it's kind of created like, hey, we're all going to be entrepreneurs. We're all working for ourselves. We're leaving the 9 to 5, you know, where we get to wake up whenever we want. And these people don't realize that you just left one 9 to 5 to then be another 9 to 5. Just because you're waking up now at 10, you still got to put in a full day's work, 8, 9, 10, 12 hours, building your network marketing company that you don't even own. If you're going to be doing that, spending 8, 9, 10, 12 hours on something each day, why not just go to the very crux of it and have it be your passion and purpose? Because that's the thing that you're going to grow anyways. And I do agree with you, John, there that, you know, people are coming into these systems which for the most part are predetermined, you know, and I don't want to bash on the whole MLM industry completely, because, you know, I was in network marketing for a couple months myself 4 years ago or something. I made a couple $1,000s. Network marketing did, you know, really push me on to personal development and reading books and different audios. But I very quickly realized that, hey, this isn't for me. You know, it seemed a little bit too salesy. It was kind of like a pseudo employee kind of claiming to be an entrepreneur. But at the end of the day, it's exactly what you said. You didn't create it. You know, you're still working for somebody else's dream, regardless of how you want to chop that up. Even if you can get a residual income, the real thoroughbred entrepreneurs are the ones that are going to take that opportunity and then leverage it into other things. And what I find is that most people, once they hit those residual income goals within a network marketing company, they become complacent. They choose not to live more life. They choose not to become more and simply stay within that company and then focus all their time on just duplicating more people under themselves in these systems, and they don't take that and actually become more of themselves outside of the industry.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. And again, I don't bash on network marketing specifically. As well, like you, I did it for a few months myself, and realized again it wasn't for me for the most part that same reason. But I think for a lot of people it can be phenomenal, because it can give you more freedom than, say, working your normal 9 to 5, or, you know, you're dressed up in a suit and tie every day. But I think for a lot of people watching the show specifically, when it comes to being in that entrepreneurial mindset, I think it's kind of like a false sell. You know what I mean? It's almost like false advertising. So, but yeah, no, I just wanted to call in and give my 2 cents on that. But
Thank
I
you,
think
John.
a lot of the points that you're bringing up with that are phenomenal. So
I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot, man. Thanks for calling in, John. Hope to hear from you again soon.
Absolutely. See you soon.
So, guys, I'm going to take a quick little check here on who we got in the chat. Christina, what's going on? Morgan, Eli, Raul, what's going on? Guys, if you're still in the Facebook Live, share it, comment it. I want to see who's here. Where are you from? If you're excited, I still want to see more ones. I want to see more likes, more hearts. They really make this engagement go a lot better. So, guys, real quick, we're going to take a quick commercial break and then be back.
These weeks moving forward for our businesses right now.
Let's go, 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 let's go.
When you're overwhelmed, you will seek distraction, not knowing it.
I don't know if I've ever been checked publicly. You were to die right now.
Put the new commercials like
this was happening.
The Stream Enterprise Event Manager gathers clips from the in-stadium event. Fans in stadium stream and record content for a chance to appear in the Jumbotron. The video then goes to the control room to be selected and queued, to be sent back to the screens live. Once the queue is ready, the playlist of recorded content is played in real time. The stadium now has true fan cam experience, engaging the in-stadium audience more than ever before. Share the moment, not just the memory, with Stream.
Are you a student? Okay, good. Introducing your new favorite app. Cash in your grades for rewards on Kudzu. Seriously. Everything from our design to our rewards is based on feedback from students like you. So basically, you can say you're already on the Kudzu squad.
Hey guys, we're back on LnbTv. Thanks for the quick commercial break. Again, guys, if you have an awesome business or opportunity, you're someone that's purpose-driven, and you're creating something that's awesome, we want to hear about it, and we want to give you some time to be featured on LnbTv, especially as we start bringing on more athletes, politicians, influencers, celebrities, to ask them, how are you leaving normal behind? What are you doing to become the best version of yourself? What are you creating that matters? So we can give them a platform, to further their agenda, talking about trending topics of today that are going to have a big effect on tomorrow. So I want to move over, guys, from entrepreneurs in a home-based business, or rather the lack thereof, and kind of just go into something a little bit more fun. And it is a list that I found on BBC, and it is what is the happiest place in the world, right? They did a bunch of tests, they took a bunch of ratings, surveys, and they came with a list of the happiest places in the world. And I want to see some of your guesses in the chat below on what do you guys, if you can name all of the countries, which country do you think is the happiest in the world? Because I want to go into it on why they say this country is so happy, how they came to the conclusion on what are some of the happiest countries in the world, where the United States stands on this list of happiness, and why the United States is there, and what is happening with the overall happiness meter with the United States right now. So I would love to see Ishmael, Raul, Eli, Morgan, Alex, if you guys are still on the Facebook Live, take a guess. I want to know, which country do you guys think is the happiest country in the world? I'm excited to get into it, because after reading and doing some more research, it's very interesting, why this country is supposedly the happiest in the world, why the United States is not in the top 10 happiest countries in the world, despite our massive economic growth. That's something that a lot of you probably don't think. A lot of you probably think that, a lot of you guys probably don't think that, or probably rather you do think that money and economics and growth in economics and money would mean a growth in happiness, and that's actually not the case. So we got Denmark. Denmark is close. Denmark is on the list. Denmark is top 5 on the list. It's actually number 2, Denmark. So that's a good guess, Anzia. But there's one more. There's one higher. I'm going to see if somebody else can give a good guess. But Denmark is number 2. And Denmark is obviously a very happy place. So if you guys haven't traveled, definitely suggest you go take that European tour. Go head over to Denmark. But I'm really curious to see if anyone is going to get this number 1 answer. And if not, that's fine. I'll spill the beans, and then we're going to go into another call-in opportunity where I want to discuss Why is the United States not in the top 10 of this list? What's made it get to that point? And how come there's no correlation between the increased growth in economics and the decrease in overall civilian happiness? So we got another guess here, Australia. Alex, that's a great guess. Australia is actually number 9 on this list. And I'm gonna spill the beans on number 1. So, number 1 most happy country in the world is actually Norway. Norway. I wouldn't have thought this. I would have originally thought Denmark. Just a quick top 5 for you guys. It goes Norway, Denmark, Iceland, Switzerland, and Finland. The United States sits, I believe, number 14 on this list, and it's very interesting why. Just real quick to kind of tell you guys how these stats got determined. So they basically took a survey size of a couple thousand people, or might say around 1,000, which isn't basically obviously the whole population. There's multiple millions of people in these countries. But what they do is they ask each person, imagine a ladder with steps numbered from 0 at the bottom to 10 to the top. The top of the ladder represents the best possible life for you, and the bottom of the ladder represents the worst possible life for you. So if you were to give yourself a score on 0 to 10, which rung of the ladder would you be on? Norway scored an aggregate of about 7.54, so the average person thought they were on the 7th rung of the ladder, which is pretty close to number 10. The worst and least happy countries are actually in the Central African Republic, which came in around 2.69, which means that most people in Central African Republic are saying, hey, on the overall ladder of the worst life to the best life, we're sitting right on the right in between rung number 2 and number 3. Kind of shows you where those guys' mindsets are, and where Denmark's is on number 7. But something that was really interesting that this article went over was something that they called the American crises. America is one of the only countries, like I said, whose economic growth is growing, whose bottom line of the United States is actually in a positive direction, where there's a negative correlation towards the civilians' happiness. And the reason they have this is because of the American crisis, which means that America does not have an economic crisis. Right now, the United States is going through a social crisis. Fundamentally, our energies, how we feel towards ourselves and how we feel towards each other, because of institutionalized racism, police brutality, because of discrimination, we have started to believe that the government is slightly more corrupt. Because technology is expanding and our information is all over the place, we're feeling a bit more isolated. We don't feel like we have privacy, and we don't know who to trust. So I thought that was a very, very interesting insight into the United States as a whole. Because not oftentimes are people going to be making more money, but they're going to be less happy. And for you guys watching, that shows how important is money in our overall happiness if the United States is not even in the top 10 happiest countries on the list, despite all our technological advancement, despite all of our amazing innovations, despite our beautiful landscapes, despite our access to education, despite our access to healthcare, despite our access to homes, transportation, luxuries. We still are not even on the top 10 of the list because of the social crisis that we're going through. And that's something I want to invite you guys now to call in so we can address what they're dubbing as the American crises. Because what other country is really going through that social evolution where, because we have so much information that we're consuming, if there's something that Donald Trump's presidency does show, and for those of you that don't realize now, this has already set the trend for decades to come. What Donald Trump shows is that if you can leverage the technologies and the powers that be on social media, if you can build a following, if you can create content, if you can develop an audience, then you can mobilize that audience to move political agendas as strong as becoming the president of the United States despite never being a politician. And if that doesn't show to you the power of social media as elections will come in the future, then you are blind and you are slow. Because if you do not realize that a celebrity, an artist, a musician, an influencer who can move people, millennials particularly, and Generation Z, to the voting booths, can actually win president of the United States 10 years from now. Those Vine stars, these artists, these celebrities, these Instagram celebrities, if you can develop an audience of purpose-driven people that are informed, that trust you, that believe in you, then saying that you're going to run for president after developing an audience of loyal followers does not seem too out of the way now because of what Donald Trump has done. And that shows a deeper insight into the social evolution on how people are congregating. So while there's a divisiveness going on, as people are not trusting each other, there's a lot of fake news, people don't know which direction to look. When they find truth, when they find somebody that's being authentic, when they find someone that's delivering value that they care about, they latch on and they'll become lifetime followers. And that is something where you have another double-edged sword, things that are happening in the United States here, where despite our economic advancements, people are doing two things: breaking off from one another, yet finding people who are similar to them and aggregating and creating community. So I think it's a very interesting social dynamic that we're going through now, which has actually had a very legitimate effect on the United States as a whole. Guys, so I want to give you guys the opportunity, if that's a topic that you guys want to talk about, why is the United States not on the top 10 happiest countries in the world? What can we do to change that? Do you guys even believe in this social crisis thing? Is racism dead? Do we have to deal with discrimination at all? And if not, do you foresee us getting into those top 10 lists? So guys, there's that. And then after, we're going to close up LnbTv today with a personal growth tip that I've learned from many mentors, many business partners, numerous books, real life experience, and it is this personal development tip that I think will give you the most social currency. It'll give you the most friends. It'll give you the most fulfillment. It'll lead to the most financial dollars in your bank account, is if you can do this one thing right and have this be the silver thread on everything that you do. And that, my friends, is authenticity. The personal growth tip of this episode is be authentic. If you can present your authentic self, if people can feel who you are through the screen, if people can see, hey, you know what, I'd be friends with that person. By the way you move, your mannerisms, your tone, the things you say, people are very perceptive. People are starting to weave through all the bullshit that they see online and starting to find the truth. They want authentic news. They want to follow people who are spreading authentic values. And it's that authenticity with yourself, one, this internal authenticity that's going to promote more self-love. It's going to allow you to feel more aligned and feel like you're pointed in the right direction because you're being real with who you are. You're not trying, to impress somebody else. You're not trying to do something that, somebody else told you that you should do. Meditate, think, contemplate on what it is that is your passion, is your purpose. In a business setting, don't try to feel like you have to sell somebody something. Hey, what's going on? We got a call here. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, what's going on?
Hi.
Hey, who do we got on the phone
my
today?
My signal's really bad. I can't hear.
Can you hear me now? We're getting you're breaking up a little bit?
Yes, but I have a full bar, so that's interesting.
Can you hear me now? I think that call dropped a little bit. So guys, back into what we were talking about. In sales, if you can lead authentically, if you can lead with... Excuse me? Oh, we got another call coming in. 1 second. Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hey, Rachel, what's going on?
Oh, pretty well, thank you.
How's your day going?
Amazing. I just literally did a 4-mile hike.
Oh, wow. I bet that was awesome to be out in nature, huh?
Oh, it's amazing.
So I appreciate you calling into LnbTv. What do you got to share with us tonight?
I actually was not able to catch the whole show,
That's
but
fine.
I know you guys are talking about authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to, talk a little bit about that.
Please share.
Do you have anything in regards to what? Into business, personal?
Yeah, so basically what we had just mentioned prior to breaking up a little bit, so I'll just repeat it. We were talking about how authenticity, one, in life, really makes you to have that more inner personal fulfillment because you're being true to yourself. And then also, in a sales situation, being authentic, not trying to manipulate somebody into the sale, and allow to put them in a buying position where they're not only buying your product or service, but they're buying into you because you're being totally upfront, you're being authentic, you're leading with your heart, and showing that one silver thread of authenticity, being who you are, be insecure, be a little bit nervous, be a little bit embarrassed, and be open about that because it's that vulnerability and that transparency that people connect with, and in our opinion, can really help that inner fulfillment and also give you a benefit in business. So that's what we had said prior to the call.
Oh, okay, perfect. Sorry, I was trying to get on, so I wasn't able to hear it.
No problem.
I think you're exactly right when it comes to that. I also think that business is personal. So if you don't have your personal life that's authentic, you're not going to have your business life that is. And so a lot of people might disagree with that, but I completely believe that you have to have your personal life in order because it does affect your business. So being authentic in your personal life, having personal connections and relationships that are true to who you are will definitely affect you when it comes to business and your level of success. So that's something I'm very, 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 when I talk to people or I consult with them, I make sure that that's the first thing I start with is, how's your personal life?
That's a great question.
Are you authentic how's your personal life? Are you authentic in your personal life, or are you, doing things that don't align with the way you believe?
Right.
Because it's going to transfer over to business, and vice versa. If your business, if it's not authentic and it's not true to who you are, it's going to be hard to keep those personal relationships where they're supposed to be and to excel in both areas. So I think that both areas have to be aligned.
Right, definitely. Why do you think that some people, why aren't they their authentic self? Do you think it's out of fear? Do they think they're going to be judged? Are people being manipulative?
I think it's out of fear. It's like you go back to school when you're in elementary school and there's bullies. People they feel a certain way. They don't like who they are, and so they will treat other people in a poor manner because of how they're feeling inside. So a lot of it stems from insecurity. It stems from fear, and it stems from not loving themselves, and also, mostly insecurity and fear, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer, Rachel. I appreciate you calling in, and I do agree with you. I think authenticity in both of those industries, both those verticals, one, internally with your heart, and two, in business, I think they're super aligned. I think the most compelling people in business are the people who are their authentic selves, where you can really create friendships with people that you do business with.
Exactly. And my best friends in the entire world are my business partners and my coworkers. So, it's all business is personal. We do everything together. We celebrate holidays. I think that's the best way to have your best friends working with you. And that, for me, is the most amazing thing.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for the insight. I know a lot of people appreciate that. And thanks for calling into LnbTv.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
No problem. So guys, we're coming to the end of our show here. We've been going a little bit over an hour. Paz, nice to see you. Thanks for hopping in, man. We're going to give some time, for any last minute calls, but just a quick recap on what we went over today. So in the very beginning, we talked about Donald Trump's new budget proposal for 2018. Granted, this isn't 100% going through yet. The way that this works is that, they send the proposal, it'll probably get denied. They go back and forth a little bit with some negotiations, like any typical business deal, and then you push the budget through. What this budget is proposing, massive cuts towards liberal programs like the State Department, the EPA, which is the Environmental Protection Agency, the Education Department, Department of Agriculture, and completely wiping out, off the face of the United States, are arts and cultural agencies, which I think is absolutely absurd. The artists in our country are what are driving our country. Artists are creators. They're the ones that are living at the edge of their imagination and creating things that are not seen yet. And if you stifle people's artistic abilities, you will see a very, 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 very bad downfall in business overall, because those visionaries, those leaders, those creatives, they are also a driving force as much as the economists, as much as the practical thinkers, as much as people that are really focused on numbers. You need a healthy mix of both. And if you're not fostering, facilitating people's inner genius and allowing them to step into their inner artists, that's a doom for the country, any country, because it means that you're not helping people become the best version of themselves and create things that matter. Guys, that is the answer. It is that simple. Doesn't matter what country you live in, who your leader is. You have citizens in your country. Each citizen has a heartbeat. They're human. They have something they love. They have something they care about. They have something they're skilled at. If you're not setting up programs, if your country is not set up to allow these people to become more of what they already are, to solve the problems that we need to be solved, if you don't let these people do that, well, then you're limiting yourself from all the amazing growth and innovation that you can have. So that's a major important thing that world leaders need to understand, that if you're not helping your people become the best version of yourself and create things that matter, you're not leaving normal behind and you're doomed. The next thing we discussed was why most home-based business owners will never become thoroughbred entrepreneurs who leave their MLM, their network marketing company, their direct sales company, their e-commerce home-based business, because they pigeonhole themselves by not adding unique value to their audience. They lead with their company, they lead with the product, they lead with their service, and they use these home-based businesses to develop a residual income and then become complacent. They don't choose more life to become more of themselves. They don't use this platform that they've created to now create more. They don't leverage themselves out of what they're doing to be more innovative and expand their talents. And oftentimes, these people that do succeed in these home-based businesses stay within their industry only to then duplicate more people underneath them to increase their residual incomes. And a thoroughbred entrepreneur, in my opinion, is somebody that can create something out of nothing that is aligned with their passion and purpose, put their all into it. If you're gonna put 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day in a home-based business, network marketing, e-commerce company, why not take a chance on your dream? I understand you people can tell me, oh, it's a financial barrier. You know, I want to get to a network marketing company or something to develop a residual income to then leverage and do my dream. I think that's bullshit. So many people say it, they never end up doing it. If you really want to do your dream, you're gonna do your dream in the very beginning. That's just the facts. Thirdly, we went over what is the happiest country in the world. It is very surprisingly, or not surprisingly, Norway, with a 7.59 happiness rating on a 0 to 10. The least happy place in the world is right now the Central African Republic, which is about 2.69. The United States is not even on the top 10 list because we're doing something what they call the American crisis, where our economic growth is exploding and our happiness is decreasing. And it's because we're not in an economic crisis, we're in a social crisis. Fundamentally, the tectonic plates of the United States are moving, they're rubbing together. People are starting to ask big questions on racism, police brutality, discrimination, lesbian and gay rights. We're in a place of a lot of innovation and a lot of progressiveness in politics, and that's very exciting. But that's why we're kind of having, you know, this negative correlation between money and happiness. And lastly was our personal growth tip of the day on this LnB episode, which is be authentic. Your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment, and the best gift that you can ever give to somebody is the gift of your authentic self. Those two statements come from The Go-Giver, written by Bill Berg and John David Mann, and are 2 of the 5 stratospheric laws of success. And if you're giving more of yourself than you're taking in value, if you're giving people more use value than you're taking in cash value, if you're giving them your heart, you're being authentic, you put people in the position to buy into you and not feel like they're being sold. And once somebody buys into you, once they buy into your movement, they buy into your brand, they buy into your business, they buy into your culture, well, then you're gonna have lifetime followers, loyal friends that are obviously gonna spend money with you, but even more so are gonna have amazing times with you, give you great and needed feedback, and they're going to be somebody that you can rely on. And if you're not authentic with yourself in your personal life, you're not gonna feel that fulfillment. And if you're not authentic with yourself in business, People are going to sniff that out, smell your bullshit, and you're not going to develop the friends, the long-term business partners, and you're not going to scale up to your big dreams that you want. So guys, thanks for tuning in today to LnbTv. I'm really excited for where this show is going to go. If you guys have topics that you want to hear, if there's somebody that you think deserves to be brought on to LnbTv, write it in the comments. Send us a message to our Leave Normal Behind page. If you haven't joined the Leave Normal Behind movement and become an elevated mind, then you need to head over to leavenormalbehind.com. It's under construction right now, but we're having our pre-launch newsletter. And if you want to sign up for community events, LNB only meetups, that's really cool, guys. New York City, Miami, LA, we're going to be having these exclusive meetup events for people to come together, purpose-driven people to meet face-to-face, discuss topics and in cool environments, and really move the needle forward on some of these social impact issues. If you guys want to be on the forefront, if you guys want to get that news before anybody else does, go to leavenormalbehind.com. Choose to leave normal behind and become an elevated mind and sign up for our newsletter today. And I'm excited to see you guys next week, 8 p.m. Monday Eastern. So guys, thank you. Leave normal behind, become the best version of yourself, and create things that matter. I'll see you guys next week.